All right, we're here. Yay. Hey, everybody.
Hurrah.
Dara Wellness, we're here. Our first show for the big, easiest ways to wellness. Dr. Holly McKenna, and I'm here with my friend, am I motioning the right way? Joe Casal, who's helping me out today. So you guys can see I'm legit. I'm going to hand it over to Joe because he's the professional. I'm just pretending.
Well, some would argue that, but but I am honored to be here, and I'm honored to introduce you to everyone, so everyone can see what I see and how special you are and what you have to offer coming up.
Very kind.
And, I think what we should be doing now is kind of introduce you and let everybody know all about you. You know, where you're from, where did you go to school? So let's start from there.
Okay. Well, I grew up in North Carolina, Greenville, North Carolina, for people who happen to be watching from outside New Orleans and know where that is, and lived there up until about high school, and then went up to Buffalo, New York, random, with my family. Dad's job moved. And so as far as where I went to school, it was not a New Orleans high school. But then for college, I was over at Duke University, go Devils. And I was brainwashed to be a Duke fan from the womb. My dad and mom are both from Ireland. They had originally come over to the States to pay off debts. And then dad came over for residency as an OBGYN doctor, and then got into a fellowship at Duke, and that sealed the deal. So they never went back, started having us as kids, and lifelong, before it was cool, before we were winning, before Zion. So yeah, and then I went to Wake Forest for med school, so I was still up in North Carolina. Then I really kind of needed to branch out. My dad had actually suggested to look at New Orleans. I'd never been here before. And I came down to interview for residency. I actually originally started out in pediatrics, so I came down to Tulane. And I'll never forget it. I came to interview, and after my interview, they said, well, why don't you go check out, I was like, where should I check out in New Orleans? I've never been here. And they suggested Royal Street. So I went down and I saw a guy playing the trumpet on the street, and that was it. I was done. That was it. In Ireland, growing up, we went over quite a bit because all my family's there. They have a street called Grafton Street where there's always musicians playing. It's really a very Irish thing to do. And so seeing that in New Orleans, knowing this was a really European city with a really old soul, just made it so that was it. I'm not turning back. So then I came here for that residency originally. A couple years later, I guess saw the light in a couple ways and changed to LSU for psychiatry. Saw the light for myself. It's just a better fit with the psychoanalysts over there in LSU. And honestly, finished my residency when Katrina hit and stuck around. So never look back, I guess, is really from there.
And so, you've been here ever since. You raised your family here, and you're set here now.
Yeah. I actually purposefully chose the hospital, Truro, so my kids would have New Orleans on their birth certificates because I'm a dork. And there's not really good. I mean, it's also a great hospital, but that was one of the reasons. And I married a local, Ty Graffanini, who's on. Thanks for watching. And from there, never looked back. I could have left when Katrina hit because I literally finished my residency training 2 days after the storm hit. They gave me those 2 days for vacation and was on unemployment and food stamps for a number of months. Had people from all over the country offering me jobs. Everyone wanted to help people out from the coast after Katrina. So really could have gone anywhere. And that's when I made the conscious decision to stay here And when I really knew that this was where I belonged, and was really my home, obviously meeting my husband, and all that's happened since then has sealed the deal. But yeah, this is really no turning back for me. I love this place.
So did the experience of Katrina and your experience here, did that kind of play a role in you getting into integrative psychiatry?
Yeah. So I originally was working in Mississippi, on the Mississippi coast, because, like I said, I couldn't find a job. The job I had was supposed to be in the parish on Paris Road. So when WWL did their flyover, folks might remember, they used a helicopter over the city and showed all the space, all the landmarks. They actually showed the intersection of my clinic, and it was six to 8 feet underwater, I think, at that point. Some had subsided. And so I was doing a scholarship for National Health Service Corps. They paid for my medical school, and with that, you give time back to an underserved area. So that Katrina, the silver lining for me of Katrina was that we then qualified as an underserved area. So that allowed me to stay. I stayed within the city, working for the city, and then for the state. And then from there, branched out to the VA. I've been at the VA for a decade now. And during my time at the VA, I've evolved from what I would describe as the cookie cutter psychiatrist, doing what she was told. When I started at the VA, they said, you just write medicines and you just see people and this is all you do. And because I was a rule follower at that time, I did that. And soon realized that wasn't what drove me into medicine. What actually inspired me to be in medicine and stay with medicine happened while I was in medical school. I mean, I'd already decided to go this path, but as far as the integrative path, I was over in Ireland, mostly to see my grandfather, who was alive at the time, and ended up working with a general practitioner who was a classmate of my father's in a small village in Kildare. And he would let me follow him in and out to see patients, because at that point I was a student, so I wasn't seeing them on my own. And he stopped before he went into a room one day and said, Holly, I'm going to ask you to stay outside and, take a break. This woman actually came in at my invitation because her husband died a week ago. And I just want to have her come in and have a chat and a cup of tea and make sure she's okay. So he instigated this appointment for no other reason than to make sure she was all right and check on her well-being. And to me, that is the perfect example of what we do in integrative medicine, is meeting a patient where they're at and really not coming into the relationship between physician and patient with any other expectation than to find out what their needs are in that moment and what their goals are, and to be a partner with them in that experience. A lot of times in traditional medicine, and even in our teaching in traditional medicine, we're taught to look at someone's blood pressure or diabetes and make the diagnosis and give them the medicine and tell them what they're supposed to do, usually with like a wagging finger or some type of paternalistic experience. And I think now medicine is evolving, partly because now half of the physicians in America are women, so it's becoming more maternal, in that we are partnering with our patients and really seeing what their needs are, and not really taking on the role of telling them what to do, but rather helping them by sharing our knowledge and teaching them in a way that they can become empowered and make their own movement towards their wellness goals and really live their best lives. And that's really like what drives me.
And that is the genesis for you creating Dara Wellness.
Yeah, it really is. While I've been at the VA, I created what we call whole health at the VA, which is really integrative medicine. And I had been able to create the start of a program there through this, what we call a group medical appointment, where it was myself, a psychologist, a social worker, meeting with a group of veterans every week, focusing on a well-being topic, whether it be nutrition or sleep or mindfulness, and doing a deep dive every week, bringing in people we call subject matter experts to give them an even deeper dive into that. And then after 3 months, they depart in a different state of being with all these mad skills to be able to really embark on a journey that's going to bring them to a place of better well-being and really like knowing what their goals are and knowing what their values are. I love doing that, and I enjoyed that with the VA. But I think I've outgrown that kind of organizational structure, and I have really wanted the ability to create my own situation and my own offerings. And I also feel like people outside of the VA need these cool things too. And so part of why I've created my private practice is to offer that one-to-one and eventually in a group setting. And then a big reason why I wanted to start this show is to help people identify ways that they can engage in well-being here within our community or virtually, because there's a lot of things now offered through the virtual space, which is great. I'm gonna drink some water.
The role of technology has to really play a huge role as you roll out your practice and as you're embarking on this endeavor.
Yeah, it's funny. I had actually already originally planned to have telemedicine as part of my practice before this pandemic hit. I opened up my practice just a week before the pandemic hit. Hi, Julie. Hi, Pael. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Because I had that licensure from Mississippi from my Katrina experience, I knew that I was able to offer these skills to places outside of just our city. And there's also a lot of places within Louisiana that are rural. And, I grew up in rural North Carolina, so I know that, people are shy of leaving their neighborhood sometimes and their space. And this is before the pandemic, now even more so. But that doesn't mean they don't have the same needs and same desires to live their best lives. So I really want to be able to offer care to anybody. And I really enjoy working with people who are busy trying to live their lives. So I think telemedicine is a great way for people who are, at work right now to be able to tune in and, watch this show or connect with me if we're seeing each other one-on-one, or connect with me later when I create a group setting. These are great things that we can use technology to do and to help people get to a place where they're really embracing life and aren't in that patient role, because that's not my goal at all. I want folks to move forward rather than being at a standstill.
And then how, as people watch this and they want to get in touch with you, let's talk about how they can do that.
Yeah, so
your website, your phone, and all of that.
Yeah. So I'm trying to keep as much as I can consistent. So most of my social media is the same as my website, which is darawellnessnola.com. And so my Instagram, my Facebook are all Dara Wellness NOLA. My YouTube, if you search for Dara Wellness NOLA. I'm starting Pinterest. I've got a little bit of TikTok in there, mostly for my kids, but we'll see if I can educate some people through that in a fun way. And then on Twitter, at Dr. McKenna. But if you search for Dara Wellness NOLA, you'll find that there too, because I added it to my handle there so folks can find me. And then really you can go to my website and there is scheduling. If you look under patients, you can schedule a phone session with me, a free phone session if you want to talk about what I have to offer and if it's a good fit for you, or even schedule an intake. You can schedule it right there. I really want folks to be able to do it in the middle of the night if that's when they think of it, because that's how I work. I might be making a list and it's before people's office hours, right? So yeah, that way you don't have to wait until a certain time of day to get in touch. And once folks are my patient, then they have my email and they email me at all hours. And that's okay, because I don't necessarily answer at all hours, but I'm okay with them reaching out when it's convenient.
which is ideal now, because with all of us either stuck at home or worried about what is going to be coming next from the pandemic, the timing of this in a difficult time is almost ideal, because what you have to offer is really, frankly, what people need right now.
Yeah. I think it's, I guess it's some serendipity with what's happened. Uh, I like to put silver linings on things. I think it's part of my Irishness. That's how we survive the famine, is our senses of humor and our ability to look at things half full. So for me, like, the silver lining of this pandemic is that people have branched out into using social media more and to be more comfortable with that, into using things like telemedicine. People, are using Zoom now just to get on with their girlfriends, or with, Todd does with his guy friends. I'm sure you have as well, just to like chat with each other. My kids have had play dates now on Zoom. So people are becoming much more comfortable with that, which is great, because, as I said, then they can, if they're traveling for work or if they're stuck at home because of childcare, they can still engage in, whether it be a session with me or a course or watching this program. Like, those things are still accessible to them in a way that, in more traditional, not be. It's easier to take a break at work and go engage in something than maybe have to leave work, do the drive, get to the appointment, check in, hope the doctor's not running late, and rush back, and still, and be able to stay mindful through that whole process is really difficult. So this way, folks can maybe take their lunch break, go outside, watch our program, or engage in a session, or engage in a group, or what have you, and really be able to embrace their life and live their lives, which, like I've said, is really what my goal is for folks.
And so it's Dara Wellness, DARA Wellness, NOLA.com. If folks watching this want more information or want to schedule an appointment with you, you said the first phone session is free. If they
Absolutely
want to get for lack of a better term, a test drive to see if this is something that can really help them along the lines, which, I'm a biased observer, but I would say it does. And I think this has been great for people to get an introduction to you and to what you have to offer, and your enthusiasm and your passion for wanting to help people, which in these challenging times is really important.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I can't, I'm very grateful to you. Yeah, and so this, every week we'll have this program as well. As I said, part of what I liked about working in a big organization, the VA, is that when one of my vets has a need, I'm able to point them in the right direction and say, go try Tai Chi down the hall. It starts at 2:00. Here in the private world, where the rest of us live, it's not always so easy to find those resources. So one of my greatest goals of having this available to folks via Facebook Live or YouTube or however folks tune into us is to be able to see firsthand what's available. And also, because I love New Orleans so much, to really promote my friends and neighbors who are doing amazing things in their businesses, creating amazing products that are going to help people really live their best lives. And I'm super excited to share those things. I'm super excited to try those things on. I'm going to do my best to put myself in situations with these different businesses and individuals so people can maybe envision themselves trying these things out. Because I know sometimes new things are scary, but if you see me doing it, and I mean, you'll see next week what my poor husband is going to have me doing with him before our guest from Audubon Institute comes. You'll see that you can try it out too. So, yeah, I'm super excited. I think this will be a great way for folks to learn about what's available here in our area or virtually. And yeah, they can check out these episodes and more information at darawellnessnola.com, and subscribe to the YouTube page to see episodes as they come out.
That's right. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the YouTube page for DarlaNola.com.
I know my kids
Holly,
will
I think this has
kill me
been
if I don't
great.
say that. Subscribe, please like and subscribe. I think that's what my
Subscribe.
7-year-old told me to say.
Well, this has been
All right.
great. I think it's been a great introduction to all of the things that you have to offer, and I can already tell you're going to help a lot of people as we go forward, and that's, you know, that's why you're such a special person, and I think the audience is starting to see that.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Joe, for coming on with me. You're a pro. I adore you. I'll have you back on when the
Well,
Saints are coming up so
it's
you can talk to me about how to stay calm and well and cook good food while we're in Saint season.
well, it's been my pleasure. You know, anything I can do to help you all, I'm all in.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to try to turn this off. It's a learning curve, but I see the end broadcast. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I adore you. See you next week.